Hey guys, and welcome to another Furry Friday video. Just before we get started, if you want to know the story of what happened to my finger, go check out the last week's video. Link will be somewhere. Today, I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite things, Pokemon. That's right, along with many other furries, I am a big Pokemon fan. That means I have favorite Pokemon. Let's talk about the first type that I have in my little pile here. Let's talk about my favorite electric type Pokemon, and that is Joltik. So Joltik here is an electric bug type, and the reason I like him is because he's super cute. He's just so gosh darn cute. And the fact that I really like bugs. So next type is Ghost, and my favorite Ghost is actually the electric Ghost type Rotom. And the reason I really like this guy is because of his ability to gain different types with what he possesses. I think that's really cool, and there isn't any other Pokemon, I don't think, that actually does this, so Rotom's pretty unique in that aspect. Next is Steel type, and my favorite Steel type Pokemon is actually the bug Steel type Pokemon Durant. I think Durant is a really cool example of natural selection in video games, with it growing a steel exoskeleton to protect itself from its natural predator, Heatmor, which is the anteater Pokemon. So, he's my favorite Steel type. Also, it's a bug. Next up is Fire type. Now, my favorite Fire type is Ninetales. And the reason for this being, when I first got into Pokemon, Ninetales here was my favorite all-time Pokemon. However, I still do love it, and I can't choose an all-time favorite anymore because there's just so many, so I kind of go in types. However, Ninetales here still holds a really special place in my heart, so that's why it's my favorite fire Pokemon. Next up is Water, and my favorite water Pokemon is actually the water starter Totodile. Totodile I love because he looks so happy. Look at him, he's so happy. And plus I just adore the shiny for this Pokemon, which is where the blue is a light green and the red is a purple, and I adore it so much. So that's why Totodile is my favorite water Pokemon. Next up is Grass, and I've chosen Superior for my favorite grass Pokemon. And the reason for this is when I first started Pokemon Black on DS, Snivy was the Pokemon that I started, and this is the final evolution for Snivy. Also, it's just a really gorgeous Pokemon. Like, it's so cool, and I love that it's got that like kind of snaky vibe, which is really cool. Next up is Flying, and I've chosen the normal flying type, Staravia. The reason I chose Staravia is because Staravia was actually the very first bird Pokemon I ever used in a Pokemon game, which was Pokemon Platinum. I caught mine as a Starly, it evolved into a Staravia, and evolved again into a Staraptor. However, I do prefer the look of Staravia, so that's why this one is on my list. Next up is Ice type, and I've chosen the OG water ice type, Lapras. Lapras I really love because obviously it's one of the original 151 Pokemon, which is the Pokemon that I grew up with. Also, it's based off the Loch Ness Monster, and I love that because I love the Legend of the Loch Ness Monster. So, really, really cool Pokemon. Next up is Electric, and I've chosen Shinx for my electric Pokemon because this was the first ever electric Pokemon that I ever used in a game, again in Platinum, and I caught it as a Shinx, it evolved into a Luxio, and then evolved again into a Luxray. Also, it kind of looks like Stitch. In fact, in my game I nicknamed mine Stitch, so it kind of has stuck with me. Next up is my favorite Psychic type, which is the normal Psychic type, Girafarig. Now, Girafarig I think has a really cool design with the giraffe on one side and kind of this other thing on the other side, but it's definitely based off a giraffe. Also, this was actually the first Psychic type I ever used in a game, again in Platinum, that's gonna happen a lot. A lot of the reasons I like these Pokemon is because it was the first time I ever used them. So that's why I really like Girafarig. Next up is the Dark type, and my favorite Dark type is Poochyena. So I really like Poochyena because of his design. I think it's really cool, but also pretty cute at the same time. And also, in the Ruby Pokedex for it, it says that it just randomly bites anything that moves, which I think is really funny. Like, can you imagine just like a trainer walking down the street and then just like getting gnawed on by like this? I just think that's really funny. Now, I purposely tried to not put a lot of evolutions in this list, otherwise every type that had an evolution, that would be my favorite, because I really like the evolutions. However, I did put one in. I couldn't not put an evolution in, and that is Sylveon. So Sylveon isn't actually my favorite evolution, but it is my favorite fairy type. And I think it's a really unique design for an Eevee evolution, especially with the blue eyes with no pupils, and I think it's just like a really cool looking Pokemon. I really like it, so yeah, that's why I chose Sylveon for my favorite fairy type. Next up is Eevee, which is my favorite normal type Pokemon. Now, I couldn't help myself. I had to choose Eevee. It's super cute, along with all the different ways it evolves. I think it's really unique, and I honestly so hope that they come out with more evolutions for this one, because I think it would be awesome. Like, can you imagine like a dragon type Eevee? Like, that'd be so cool. Flying type or fighting type, or you know, any of the types that Eevee doesn't have an evolution to yet. Next up is my favorite fighting type Pokemon, which is the fighting steel type Lucario. And the reason I really love Lucario is because when I first watched Pokemon and the Mystery of Mew, Lucario was just awesome, and I loved that movie so much, and the whole story between him and his trainer was really, really sad. And if you haven't seen that movie, I definitely recommend going and watching it. It's a really good movie, especially if you like Pokemon. So yeah, Lucario is my favorite fighting type Pokemon. Next up is my favorite dragon type Pokemon, which is the flying dragon type Noibat. Now, the reason I really like Noibat is because I think it's a really unique design for a dragon type. Like, it clearly doesn't look like a dragon. It's very clearly a bat. Also, it's just super cute. Yeah, so that's my favorite dragon type Pokemon. Now, my favorite poison type Pokemon is the poison bug type Scorpy. So Scorpy, I think, is really cool. Scorpions are actually one of my favorite arachnids, so the fact that there is a scorpion Pokemon is really, really cool, and I really, really like him. Plus, the colors are really cool, and the idea of it just like stinging people with like the claws on its tail is really cool. So yeah, I really like this guy. Next up is my favorite rock type, and my favorite rock type is Lycanroc, more specifically the midday form. Now, I know there are 3 forms. There's midday, midnight, and dusk. However, midday is definitely my personal favorite, and I think the reason for it being my favorite is just I really like the design. It's a really pretty design, and it's not too over the top, and I think I do like the other designs, but I think the rock that like comes out of its, like at the top of its head, like above its head, is kind of too much for me, so that's why I like this one. So yeah. Also, I love the shinies of these Pokemons. The blue, it looks so good. Next up is my favorite ground type Pokemon, which is actually the ground and rock type Rhydon. And Rhydon, I love Rhydon. Rhydon was the first Pokemon that I got in Pokemon Go that was above 1000 CP, which I think is really special. And from that day, I have continued to keep my Rhydon as the highest CP I have. So yeah, that's Rhydon. Also, I think he's really special because he was the first ever Pokemon designed. Ever. That's right. No, it wasn't Pikachu. It was Rhydon, and it was just on a small piece of paper, just doodling the idea. Now, I know I've already done all of the typings. However, I think I need to do a bit of an honorable mention of my favorite legendary Pokemon, which is the same Pokemon. There's just 2 forms, Shaman Sky form and Shaman Land form. So I really like Shaman Land form. Because as a kid, I would always play Pokemon with my friends where we were the Pokemon, and I would always be Shaman Landform. So that's why I love her. It brings its memories, mostly nostalgia, that kind of thing. And I really like Shaman Skyform because I really like the idea of it being like a reindeer, you know? It's super cool, like, you know, like a reindeer Pokemon, and then like it flies with its antlers, you know, like Santa's reindeer. So I think that's really cool. I think that's one of the reasons I like this one. And by the way, with Shaman Landform and Skyform, no, I don't have a favorite among them. I love them both equally. They're my favorite legendary Pokemon, and I cannot decide which one I like better. Don't make me choose. Okay guys, that was it for this week. Don't forget to leave a like and comment down below what your favorite Pokemon is. I'd love to know. And if you can't make up your mind about which one Pokemon you like, choose a few. I'm not gonna question about it. Just choose a few of your favorite Pokemon, write them in a list, let me know in the comments below. Also, subscribe to the channel for future Furry Friday videos. Have a good week guys, I'll see you next time. Bye!